work again. Tomorrow, when you are sealed in the voting cubicle, vote for me, Senator Bob Dole.
I am looking forward to an orderly election tomorrow, which will eliminate the need for a violent bloodbath. America, take a good look at your beloved candidates. They're nothing but hideous space reptiles. It's true. We are aliens. But what are you going to do about it? It's a two-party system. You have to vote for one of us.
You're right. This is a two-party system.
Well, I believe I'll vote for a third-party candidate.
Go ahead. Throw your vote away. All hail President Kane!
I don't understand why we have to build a ray gun to aim at a planet I never even heard of.
Don't blame me. I voted for Coda.
Oh, man. What's up, guys? I had to play that to open us up because we're literally going to be talking about the two-party system. I find it crazy that we could talk about the left nonstop. But as soon as I start talking about the right, people's brains short circuit as if both parties aren't screwing us. That's the crazy part about it. Thank you guys for being here with me. I got my guys with me, Casey and Eric, and we're going to be talking about Republicans and Democrats. This is also for people who probably don't watch me that often, or you probably just started following me. Everything I put on my page is strategic. Ask Casey. We will talk about something, and I will think of the best way to make it as controversial, to make it grind your gears, to make you get upset in your feelings as possible, and I'll put it on there, and I just watch people react. Is that not what I do, Casey?
100%. And then people get triggered, upset, and cry, and then blame the left.
It's a clear pattern. Yeah, it's a clear pattern, right?
It is.
Trigger
When I say
repeat.
Pam is here, I like your screen name.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I think it's dope. This is why I started Make America Think Again. This is why. I think the best thoughts are formed after you've had your emotional reaction, and then you got to think about what you just did on the internet because everybody's seen it. You're probably like, dang, maybe I overreacted a little bit. Okay, well, what does she actually mean? Because I find people doing that. They'll inbox me later and be like, what did you mean? I feel like you stir the pot. I do. And then they're like, oh, yeah, because now you're thinking about what I said instead of being in your feels about it. I'll pull up a few comments that I posted. This is how crazy this is. I've literally been back 2 days, and already there is one person in my inbox like, why do you only focus on parties? I'm like, there's no way you watch me, dude.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. He was upset because I was putting posts up about political parties, and I'm like, are we not supposed to talk about the right as well as the left? I don't get it. I don't understand. So someone in my comments said, only the left is wicked. People on the right have moral standards. I'm like, so you're legit telling me that nobody on the right screws up or is wicked, or they maybe people on the right say that they're on the right, but they still have a liberal mindset. Like I know so many Republicans that are actually pro-choice. They won't tell you that because they're afraid of getting attacked, but they're definitely pro-choice. So what did I do? I'm like, you know what? Now I'm going to trigger you some more. I put up this post and this is what I said. According to conservative logic, only the left is wicked. So I'm asking questions. What about the right? Are they the good guys? What has the GOP done for the American people? And then I started listing off career politicians that have actually sat there and done virtually nothing. Lindsey Graham is a big one. If anybody in the comment section right now could tell me what Lindsey Graham has done, you'll shut me up. But I guarantee you won't find anything. I'm talking about for the American people, a pro-American agenda. Mitch McConnell, what has he done? Tim Scott. Everybody knows why I'm not really a big fan of Tim Scott. He's counterproductive to the movement. That's a fact. Go look into his history. Rand Paul. This is the one that got people really in their feelings. This one. They're like, what do you mean? You know, because what did he do? Oh, he called out coronavirus. The same thing they did with Senator Tim Scott. Remember when they were praising him, guys?
Yeah, Tim Scott, because he had a good speech. For president, Tim Scott for president.
We play identity politics with the best of them, that's for sure. So I don't think anybody can argue that on a fundamental level. We attach to what we think is going to be popular for the election cycle, just like any smart politician does. But that doesn't mean there's not a conversation to be had about it. So let's get it done.
I'm going to refresh people's memory about Rand Paul. You know what? Good job for him calling out coronavirus. He didn't say anything we all weren't saying as American citizens. He just has a camera and a national stage. So I truly think we're giving him way too much credit. Way too much credit. Okay. So I'm going to play this because this is a clip that me and Casey went ham on for months after this whole January 6th thing happened. And I truly feel like some people have forgotten. So I'm going to refresh your memory a bit. I don't even know if I shared the audio. Let me know.
Senator Paul,
Did I?
With a
Okay.
threshold question for you. This election was not stolen. Do you accept that fact?
Well, what I would say is that the debate over whether or not there was fraud should occur. We never had any presentation in court where we actually looked at the evidence. Most of the cases were thrown out for lack of standing, which is a procedural way of not actually hearing the question. There were several states in which the law was changed by the Secretary of State and not the state legislature. To me, those are clearly unconstitutional. And I think there's still a chance that those actually do finally work their way up to the Supreme Court. Courts traditionally and historically don't like to hear election questions. But yes, were there people who voted twice? Were there dead people who voted? Were there illegal aliens who voted? Yes, and we should get to the bottom of it. I'll give you an example. In my state, when we had a Democrat Secretary of State, she refused, even under federal order, to purge the rolls of illegal voters. We got a Republican Secretary of State, and he purged the rolls.
Senator Paul,
I have to difference, and those things
I have to stop
occur.
you there. No election is perfect, but there were 86 challenges filed by President Trump and his allies in court. All were dismissed. Every state certified the results after investigations, after investigations, counts, and recounts. The Department of Justice, led by William Barr, said there's no widespread evidence of fraud. Can't you just say the words, this election was not stolen?
What I would suggest is that if we want greater confidence in our elections, and 75% of Republicans agree with me, is that we do need to look at election integrity. And
so the reason that I showed this is because he's one of the senators that certified the election. He voted to certify the election. So he did this. And then he had the nerve to get on TV and admit to everything that happened in this election. So not only did you say there was fraud, you knew there was fraud. You guys have been investigating that there's fraud. You won't say it wasn't stolen because you know it was, but you're still going to certify the election. Am I by myself here in saying that rubs me the complete and utterly all the wrong way?
No. Yeah, and everybody knows, like, the Paul family, especially his father, like, is why I'm into politics. Like, Ron Paul is why. Rand Paul, I've always been just on his side, but what did it for me is he was not going to certify the election. And then January 6th happened and he changed his mind. And I was done. Now, bravo for recovering, because you're calling out Fauci. That's what all you're trying to do is just recover. But because of what January 6th, he changed his position. And that's wrong. because that's you're taking it just because of what happened, not necessarily to ensure a proper election.
Exactly.
So this is this is I'll say I'll do a lot and then ultimately do a little while I've got a lot of time. So this is somebody who's been elected into office on a lot of promises of not rebellious nature, but certainly challenging the system. Right? That's kind of a lot of his stumping. Like when he goes out to campaign, that's kind of what he's about. And sure, right now he's doing it with Fauci for sure. In this particular circumstance on this video, did he live up to his expectation? No, right? So he's in one hand willing to say one thing and in the other just completely blow it off and do another. And so this is where I talk, often about is let's look at their actions, not what they're saying today. Let's look at their totality of actions. And unfortunately, it doesn't meet the mark, right? So
I don't even know if okay. This is why Rand Paul was put in that category. That's why I wrote the post. I purposely picked those names because I knew people were going to react. I almost threw Ted Cruz in there.
I was going to say you missed one. Ted Cruz
I almost threw him in there, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go easy.
Gave Ted a pass today.
Yeah. But I'm gonna bring up some of the comments, and this is literally to show both parties are not doing right by the American people. Okay, I'm just gonna say it. There was not one Republican that had backbone. Is there a Republican that didn't vote or sign to certify the election?
There was a couple.
There was a couple. Okay.
But not
so we'll
many.
say a large portion of them.
Mhm.
Everybody here, this is why we had Operation TBA. Everybody feels like their vote was stolen from them. They don't trust the voting system. They don't trust the government. But you're still willing to stick your neck out for Senator Rand Paul when he didn't have yours.
Oh, wow. There's more than a couple, but yeah, there's Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz, Tommy Tuberville, Cindy Smith, Roger Marshall. There's a few. There's quite a few in here, but not enough. There should have been more because people did actually say they were not going to certify the election.
Mm-hmm.
Rand Paul's one of them. And they went and changed their mind just because of what happened on January 6th.
So, I mean, there is a fair number of people that were, clearing their votes in the totality of the House. There's like 147 Republicans ultimately who either decided to vote to overturn the election results or something like that, right? So, kind of in that same neighborhood of trying to get to an answer, right, from the election standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The disappointment is that's 1/3. Not even really. It's closer to a quarter of our total representatives. Where's the rest of the 3/4 of our representatives? Because half of those people are Republicans. So if we're going to talk about the conservative movement, this is where, again, I've said it before and I'll say it probably 1,000 times moving forward. I break from the Republican Party, and this is where I'm a conservative, is we still don't know what happened. And we have some things to fix for the next election cycle potentially, but where were they when it was time to show up originally? Now they all want to show up late to the party and throw a fit about it. I just don't see that. That's not representative of my feelings.
I don't know, man. I do these shows because I want you to think. I don't get on here I do get on here to purposely piss you off, but it's in a way of you just to think about what I've said. Because after you've had your reaction and after you've been in your feels, I'm sure a lot of you go back and think like, "Ooh, okay, maybe I was wrong." Who knows? But I'm not going to stop doing this. I'm not going to stop writing posts to trigger you. I'm not going to change my message, my rhetoric, because Kaylee got it bad today too, for simply saying that Trump isn't Jesus. We all know that. No conservative thinks that. And they're like arguing. And it's like, if if they all knew that and no conservative thought that, then why would we be talking about it?
She got it bad too. A lot of people were upset.
Again, it's interesting to me that people choose hate. So I'm going to talk psychology for a second, because there's an important understanding I think people need to realize. When people get angry, there's usually a first emotion, right? Anger is a secondary emotion. It's a responsive emotion. It is not ever typically a primary emotion. So typically what a person feels first is either embarrassment or potentially sadness, depression. So when we talk about these people that are so angry that they're coming on to spew actual hate, like it's a very interesting psychological reflection of our current population. It's very responsive and reactive rather than thoughtful and proactive.
Oh man, I think I'm gonna try to find another video. Here's the thing. Go ahead, Casey. Go ahead. While you're doing that,
I'll things that we all have to remember is, how did we get into this situation? Because we weren't paying attention and we just keep re-electing the same people. And so when you look at, like, there's famous big memes going around, like, how did these people get into office poor? Like, not poor, but they were making average money. And then all of a sudden they're millionaires and they're making multi-million dollars. It's because you eventually go into politics usually with a good frame of mind, like you are going to be doing good. And then you're in there so long, you just fall into the corruption like everyone else. And so you have to make sure you remove them. Like, one of the people I was adamant against when I first got into this from Utah was Senator Orrin Hatch. And Orrin Hatch ran for his Senate seat, saying, what are you calling someone that's in Senate for 18 years? He says, someone that's at home. And then what did he do? Turn around and ran for another 18. He ran for 18 years himself. That is exactly what politicians do. And so that is where we got to remember, some people, they say to get in and then they'll just do whatever they want. And you have to remove them. You have to elect them out.
Facts.
These guys want to keep their jobs just like anybody. They want job stability. And I think it's an important factor to remember when we look at people like our president currently, who's had a career in politics, and what that requires of them, what kind of mental gymnastics that it requires from them to do as the generations turn, as the political sway in their areas turns. This is I could talk about gerrymandering if we wanted to right now, right? These are topics that are often missed because it's not part of the simple conversation, and we want to make that simple, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. Like, I'm looking at these comments now. I literally said, there needs to be an Occupy Republican page for all these radicals on the right. Where are all the middle ground people? Do you know what I got? I got a lot of I'm here. But then I hate when people bash me as a Republican. It's actually an insult because I can't stand the majority of those shady, corrupt mofos. The only ones I actually like in DC are the MAGA leaders. Those are who care first and foremost about America, American citizens, and our Constitution, period. Where in this entire section did I ask you for a long-winded expression about why you don't like getting bashed?
Well, and who said we're bashing that person? Like, I'm looking at the comment now and I'm like, so we just said we need an Occupy Republican page. I was going to agree with it because I was going to be like, yes, because I'm silenced on Occupy Democrats again, so I can't.
Damn it, Casey.
So now we didn't bash anyone. We just said for all the radicals on the right. You can't say there are no radicals on the right and then you turn around and call politicians rhinos. Like, you can't.
Yeah, this is it's like having a movement that you say only I get to be a part of, right? So guys,
Right.
like we're, I venture to say we are the movement, and the only way to make the movement gain traction and grow and turn into actual political changes is to find more inclusion. And so every time we turn around and spit in somebody's face that doesn't understand what we're talking about, it's an opportunity missed. So, it's like this is, and I feel like that's kind of the degrading level that some of these people are going to, is they're saying, you can't think this way, because if you do, you're going to exclude a bunch of people. Well, actually, it's more inclusive to have more diversity of thought in all things.
That's another thing we'll bring up, because people are now saying, well, you're not diverse in thought, and you push for people to be diverse in thought, but this is not being diverse in thought. So me saying, and this is another thing that got people really triggered. I'm not interested in the Trump social media, because I don't want to be in an echo chamber with a bunch of people that think just like I do. I like talking to liberals. And when you get to the point of, I no longer want to talk to you or engage in conversation with you, that's a bit radical to me. Things are not that far gone for you to just completely stop communication with the opposite side of the political spectrum because they don't think like you. That is exactly what the left does. You're just mirroring it on the opposite side of the spectrum while supporting career politicians that do nothing for you. Nothing.
And to be fair, like we're talking a lot about the right. But if you want to go and look at the Democratic side, there are some good Democrats out there.
Yeah.
They just don't get the publicity. And we still blame, oh, you're a Democrat, you're bad.
Yeah.
No, there are some good Democrats out there. Just people don't want to realize that and have those conversations. There's also good libertarians in the middle, like that can help blend it in, but we ignore the middle ground people for most of the part, especially Sunni.
So I think one of the things that I wish on a personal level would happen is a shedding of all of these insane labels, whether it's an organization like Black Lives Matter or an ideology like progressivism, or even the QAnon stuff. Like, if we could get rid of all of this stuff and say it exists and I have thoughts about it and you have thoughts about it, but they're different, and here's what we have in common instead. And we could all be on a place to talk about what we have in common. I often reference this. We have to talk about what's in common because there's so much more substance and reality in everybody's personal and daily lives than I think any of us remember since really the inception of Facebook and these platforms where it distanced us from the people we're spending the most time with.
Facts.
Agreed.
I agree 100%. Listen, I'm going to open up the floor for anybody to come on and talk. Don't be in the comments, but not be able to come on here and speak to me verbally. Don't do that, because that's what keyboard warriors do. And the same people that you make fun of that are scared to get on here and talk to me, you're acting just like them now. I'm going to call you out on your shit. I don't care if you don't like it. Come on here and talk, because we cannot. I don't even think there's a right and a left anymore. Okay? There is no right and left anymore. At this point, it's just evil and good. And I am on the side of good, but if you look at the political spectrum, I fall smack dead in the middle, because I'm not going far over there and I'm not going far over there. I'm just going to chill right here where common sense and reality is relevant and real. I'm not going to give people passes. Like, I'm not. I don't see the link in the description. It is.
I was just looking.
You don't see it?
If everybody can have a sexual scale that they can live on, we can have an ideological scale that we live on. So I just want to point that out. Like, it doesn't have to be that we're not labeling things appropriately. It's that we have to not put ourselves in buckets that don't actually exist.
Yeah. Facts. Refresh if you can't see it, because I put it in there. Let me see if I can put it in the chat.
And Chris, I just confirmed it, but if you need me to email it to you, I can email it to you. So I got your email from the TVA.
Here we go. All right. I put it in the chat as well. Let me know if it comes up. Hopefully it does. I pinned it.
I just saw it come up.
Okay.
Well, it shows up for hot mic. But
Yeah, it
Okay.
shows up for hot mic.
But not
I don't
for
know if
cash.
it's on.
not for cash or PTP. Here, I'll throw it in PTP.
Okay. I can see you on here, Sue, but I don't see your camera. You got to connect your camera. No phone number. It's not a phone number. It's a link. Click a link. Come on here and talk. You don't have to show your face. You can appear with just your audio, but it's a StreamYard link, and you have to open it in Google Chrome. That's probably the issue people are having too.
Yeah, that took me like 2 days to figure out. You can do it. You can do it in Firefox too.
No link. That's Cash's. Okay.
I'm trying to get mine. I posted the comment in PTP twice, and it's not showing up.
Yeah.
Keep banning me from commenting. That's what it is.
I put it in there, guys. You probably have to come in and come back out because it's in the description. You'll see it right there in the description. You have to close the chat box that you're in right now and look in the link. I mean, look in the description. You see, okay, cool. You can see it now.
Yeah, Robin, we're trying. I can't post it in PTP. It's getting removed or something because I see it on my side. You want to try to load it on yours, Sunny?
Yeah, let me log in.
But I don't see it come up in our comments on the screen here.
That's weird. I'm not
We've
live
had
on
this problem
Facebook.
before. Yeah,
Maybe I should go live on Facebook. I didn't even think about that.
this one would have been a good talk. 'Cause
Yeah.
we wouldn't have said much to get us banned
There we go. We're live.
on Facebook.
This actually happened on Facebook, so I would love for the people on Facebook to get involved in this conversation because we can't be like that, man. And I'm not going to sit back and watch you guys be like that.
YouTube chat also.
There are 38 people watching. Only 28 people like the video. Please hit the thumbs up on this video so that it can get thrown into the algorithm, and possibly we can have some more people other than conservatives coming on here and talking, because I want to know what the left thinks as well. The liberals. Yeah, I can't put it in here either. It won't even let me pin it. This is weird. And I'm logged in.
I just put it in the Facebook chat. So
thank you for the likes, guys. It means a lot. Throw that in there. It's posted in every description on Facebook, YouTube. So if you want to come on here, all you have to do is close the chat box. Close the chat box. Click the link. It's in the description. Hello. And come on here and share your thoughts, because I'm telling you, I purposely do this.
Can I extend the invite to people who just haven't felt like they can make their voices heard? I mean, I feel like that was kind of a big way that I got kind of chatting with you guys, right? It was just one opportunity to sit down and ask a couple questions. Now we talk every night. So, anybody who wants to state an opinion, and whether it's an agreement or disagreement, please make it, bring it on. It's good to hear from new people.
I don't know what's messed up.
I don't see you live on Facebook.
Really? It's popping up.
I see it.
Hello, guys. I'm a deplorable. Don't call yourself
people on it right now.
Yeah. So is it the SUNY Blinks page?
No, it's just PTP. Just PTP.
Oh, PTP. Okay.
The topic tonight is the two-party system. We need to be able to call out Republicans, even if it's your favorite Republican candidate. I don't care. I called Rand Paul out and a bunch of other people. And a lot of folks got in their feelings because I don't think they quite understood what I wrote, because they were reading to respond more than reading to understand what I was coming from. I purposely do these things because I want everybody to think. Like we said earlier in the live, I know you guys missed about 30 minutes of it, but I will watch what's happening throughout the day. I will see what's on the news, and I'll come up with a whole post, put it out, and I watch people react to it. I know you're going to get triggered.
So Suni, I have to just say to this point, right? So we disagreed about a California gubernatorial candidate, right?
Okay.
So one day ago, Major gets on Facebook or on Instagram and has a video, and the caption is population control real? Type yes in the comments if you agree. Okay? This is a gubernatorial candidate in California who, listen, I was kind of on board with, and then he just took a straight hard turn into conspiracy land. And I can't take this. I can't take it as seriously as I have. I just can't. It's not that what he's saying maybe doesn't have some validity in theory potentially, but we got to have some cold hard facts like that before we start throwing around some crazy stuff, right? And what he's saying may have some validity. Like look, there's some anecdotal evidence around it, but hard facts, guys, until we get those and get the people that are going to have the integrity to get those hard facts in office, we're all just going to be spinning wheels.
Here, I'm going to play the Rand Paul video again. It's crazy because now we have to run it back. Everybody's on here now. So I'm going to briefly go over what I went over in the beginning. I put up a Facebook post probably for these last 2 days where I said, having a Trump app is great, but guess what? You're going to be in an echo chamber. Kind of like we're in an echo chamber now. How many liberals have you seen come on here and participate in shows? You don't see it because we've been boxed in and forced into these little things, these little categories. And people got upset because I'm like, I don't want to be in an echo chamber, bro. And if that makes you upset, I don't know what to tell you. But the facts are, more people like to be around people who are just like them. You don't like being around somebody that's different. It makes you uncomfortable. You don't know what to talk about. Come on. He said you're literally echoing. Yeah, somebody's mic was picking up my feedback. So I said it's mind-blowing. I could talk about the left all day, but how dare I question those who call themselves conservative? People got in their feels about that. But this was a post that really got everybody going. Oh, thank you for sharing, guys. I appreciate it. Make sure you're hitting the thumbs up. There was a real echo. Okay.
That was Facebook just popping in to catch your IP real quick.
So this is exactly what happened. Okay. In the comment section where I was talking about Trump, somebody literally said, only the left is wicked. And I thought, there were so many representatives that didn't represent the American people on the 6th or even after. So what is that not wicked to like straight up lie and certify an election? I don't know. You tell me. But I said, what about the right? Are they the good guys? What has the GOP done to help America? And I named Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell, Tim Scott, and Rand Paul. Almost everybody in that comment section got in their feelings over Rand Paul. Well, what's your issue with him? And the only reason is Rand Paul spoke out against Fauci. This is the same thing that happened when Senator Tim Scott came on TV and said something that made everybody feel good. And then it was Tim Scott for president. No, no, we're not going there. No, it's not what we're doing. I'm not going to let you hop all the way out the box like that. I'm going to grab your shirt and say, wait a minute. Come here. Let's talk. So I'm going to refresh your memory on exactly why he's not a trustworthy candidate. Go ahead.
No,
Eric.
I was just going to say it's no matter what your ideals are, right? I think what ultimately we're identifying is the emotional unintelligence of both sides, which can be quite low at times. And it's not a knock on any individual. You can become more intelligent on these things very quickly. It's actually an easy thing to do. But this is where people get these turning on. I'm woke. Well, no, like, I mean, you've kind of gone too far. You should be awake to what's going on in front of you, but to be woke is a completely different thing. And people use these interchangeable terms for these specific things. And so I just want to say that because it's like, when we use the English language, I feel like we're getting every day a new word or a new euphemism of something that should just be talked about in plain and simple ways. We're talking about emotional toddlers that are in adult bodies who can understand the concept of good and bad and disagree vehemently. And that's this two-sided issue, but they're not able to have then the next level of logic. And that's, that conversation that comes next. Facts. To find the middle
we
ground.
Have somebody here. I don't know who this is, but I'm going to pull him up. Welcome to the stream.
Oh, you know me. Sunni.
Oh, okay. I recognize you. I did a show with you a while ago.
I'm the one that got banned from YouTube. For
well,
2
welcome.
months. Welcome to you. I'm sorry about what's going on with you and Facebook and all that crap there. I was watching when they cut you
I'll
off.
come out on top.
Yeah, I've gone to 18 other platforms actually. So I'm even on something called TrueTube and that. So I missed the early part of the conversation. I seen your link and I thought I'd pop in and watch for a while. I don't know where you're at. What are you talking about? Where are you at? What are you talking about?
Okay, so I'm going to play this. I'll pull you down. I'm going to play this video and I'll go into exactly what we're talking about.
Okay.
Senator Tim Scott. I already did a whole show on that. If you want to watch it, I did it with Casey. Go back and watch. It's literally named Senator Tim Scott. I did a whole show on it. But here's why. I don't support Rand Paul. I just don't.
Senator Paul, let me begin with a threshold question for you. This election was not stolen. Do you accept that fact?
Well, what I would say is that the debate over whether or not there was fraud should occur. We never had any presentation in court where we actually looked at the evidence. Most of the cases were thrown out for lack of standing, which is a procedural way of not actually hearing the question. There were several states in which the law was changed by the Secretary of State and not the state legislature. To me, those are clearly unconstitutional. And I think there's still a chance that those actually do finally work their way up to the Supreme Court. Courts traditionally and historically don't like to hear election questions. But yes, were there people who voted twice? Were there dead people who voted? Were there illegal aliens who voted? Yes, and we should get to the bottom of it. I'll give you an example. In my state, when we had a Democrat Secretary of State, she refused, even under federal order, to purge the rolls of illegal voters. We got a Republican Secretary of State, and he purged the rolls.
Senator Paul,
I have to difference, and those things
I have to stop
occur.
you there. No election is perfect, but there were 86 challenges filed by President Trump and his allies in court. All were dismissed. Every state certified the results after investigations, after investigations, counts, and recounts. The Department of Justice, led by William Barr, said there's no widespread evidence of fraud. Can't you just say the words, this election was not stolen?
What I would suggest is that if we want greater confidence in our elections, and 75% of Republicans agree with me, is that we do need to look at election integrity, and we do need to see if we can restore confidence in the elections.
Okay. Now everybody remembers the 6th. He said, I am not voting to certify this election. He got on TV and said A, B, C, D, E, F, G. He said everything that we've all been saying and we all knew happened. You know what? People voted. You heard the list. And then you voted to certify an election. Okay? You went ghost for 5-6 months. And then you're brought back to life because Fauci got exposed. And everybody is riding your wave again. Are we serious, man?
This is how politics works. Look at Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was garbage up until he backed Donald Trump from January 6th and the election. And everybody was on Ted Cruz's bandwagon again. And it's like, guys, these are the games that are played to keep you entertained, and just you're going to keep voting for them. And so it's ridiculous, and we got to make sure we remove them, vote them out.
I'll just, for the sake of consistency, I'll say what I said, kind of when we first played this video before we kind of had everybody on here, which is it's listen to what I say, not look at what I do. I think I said 147 delegates ultimately, congressional Republicans decided to vote to overturn the election, but Rand Paul was not one of them, and neither was Mitch McConnell or Lindsey Graham. And so these are the key people to be looking at, because they are the face of our movement, I guess, right now, right? We're trying to change that actively, I think is the whole point of what we're trying to get at with all of these things. But again, for that sake of clarity and consistency, this is, look at what I'm going to tell you I'll do in order to keep my job, and then not my policy when it comes to my voting block, because I'm not going to keep that promise, but I'll keep promising you that I will.
Yeah, pretty much. If I'm going to call out the left, I'm going to call out the right too. And both parties have been screwing us. That is why this is called Let's Have a Heart to Heart. That is why I said breaking the two-party system. We have got to get out of the mentality of just because there's an R behind somebody's name doesn't mean shit. It does not mean anything if you don't stand up when it matters. I'm not giving people leeway. You know what happened? People won't even give Kamala Harris leeway for a damn tweet. But you're going to give this man, you're going to extend him grace because he's got an R behind his name.
We cannot pick and choose when it is politically convenient to support people. They either are on board 100% of the time or they are not. And we have to start picking people that will fall on the sword for the cause, right? We have for so long, this country was not founded by a bunch of people who could talk well. In fact, half of these people were illiterate, but they were willing to live and die by essentially a creed that left us with what we now have established as the greatest country in the entire history of the world. Why can't we find more people? And maybe it is us. Maybe we all need to be running for office. Maybe that is what's going to come of this eventually, right? And I think for all of us, we're looking very local right now at our specific areas of impact and saying, what can we do? And sometimes that's showing up and those kinds of things. But fundamentally, we have to choose people whether or not they're willing to live and die by the principles on which they will stand. Because, and I'll use a biblical reference here. A man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. And that we have everybody up there right now is standing for nothing and falling for everything, including us as the people who are putting them in office. And we have to take real hard looks in the mirror and have uncomfortable conversations about that.
I mean, I agree. That's why we're doing this show. Yes, I don't mind pissing you off. I actually don't care. If it makes you think and you come challenge me, I will go back and forth with you in the comments. People get in their feelings and they're like, oh, you just want people to agree with you. You have a narrative. You have the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I'm like, I'm literally asking you to think on a level that is basic common sense.
And GH, if you're out there, please, we're still wanting to have a conversation with you, my man. So anytime. In fact, tonight.
I can see somebody on here named Leah Cruz. Your camera's not showing up. So if you want to get on here and talk, I need to see I don't need to see your face. You can come on here and do audio, but it says devices aren't connected. So if you want to come on here and talk, come on and talk. You're forgetting about perspective.
So
in what aspect?
Yeah,
as far as an elected official goes, they cannot represent all perspectives. Everybody has a perspective of America first. And voting to certify an election, I don't see how that's a one-sided perspective. Everybody here
when we boil it down, whether you're on the progressive side of things or on the far extreme right, it really doesn't matter. You still need to be fundamentally American first, or America first specifically, because without that fundamental principle in common, what we're talking about is a division of countries. We're literally talking about the end of the United States and the beginning of a bilateral country that is running off of two separate sets of laws, constitutions, and ultimately principles of government. So we have a northern neighbor that operates in a different political climate than we do. They use the exact same market system that we do, and yet they are seemingly not as successful as we are in many ways. Now, are there ways that we could improve? Sure, but let's not forget we have a pretty close example of what the United States is moving towards in our Canadian neighbors. And if you haven't looked at what's going on in Canada right now, it's a shit show, for lack of better words. It's insane. It's insanity going up there.
Yeah. So let me know what you're saying. Who is that? Oh, that's Elisa. That's my homie. What perspective are you talking about? Or you can just come on here and chit chat. Anybody can come on here.
Sorry if that came across strong. I would love to hear what you mean specifically. If that, if I'm not covering the topic.
Oh,
please.
She can't come on right now. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
I got you.
My bad for coming off strong.
Majority of politicians, especially longtime career politicians, only show respect when their power and image is threatened. Facts, man. Mm-hmm. By their actions, they will tell you that they only have two concerns: election and re-election. I've been saying that for a long time now. When they want your vote, they're everywhere talking about all the things you want to hear.
Stability. Yep, job stability, guys. Everybody wants it.
Amy's saying a lot of lefties hate America and want it destroyed. There's also quite a bit of them on the right. They're all in the same bed.
There is a fundamental movement of people who want to just disintegrate this country and start over, and that is the worst decision that we could make. There is still absolutely institutions we're saving. There are absolutely things we're doing, blowing up the system in order to create a new one. I don't think you would have years of conflict and war.
Facts.
I'll just put it that way, right?
Are you ready to comment, TCM? Okay.
Hi, I tend to agree with you. Rand Paul, sometimes I agree with him, sometimes I don't. He seems to go with the wind a little bit, though. I think that the election was such a scam, fraud. I can't say that here. I'm not sure what platform you're on here.
Allegedly.
I'll take that back. Allegedly. Yeah, my opinion. I'm doing what I did to get banned from YouTube, as it is. So I lost 18 channels, so I know how it is.
Wow.
And you can't say anything about the vaccine or anything like that. So I'm finding it freer to be on other platforms. But I tend to agree with you that they worry about their own self too much rather than the country when they're saying stuff to the media and whatever platform they're on. Like, they don't like to be challenged. Like when they go on the liberal media, I would have laid it down better and a lot sooner if I were him. And on the 6th, he should have voted to still look into that. There was a lot of Antifa there with some patriots going into the Capitol. In fact, they're the ones that did the breaking in, as a matter of fact, and there was cops letting them in. So that's not my opinion. So I don't want to get you in trouble. I know how it is.
Thanks for your opinion. We appreciate it.
You're doing a great job too. So
thank you, guys. Come on here and talk. No, we're not just posting comments from Facebook. I'm posting comments that are pertinent to this conversation, because just like I say, hey, I want to talk to people on the left, I want to talk to people on the right too. I'm not here just to make you feel good and agree with you. I'm not here to do that. I really want people to think.
I don't know the comment that Kamala Harris made that everyone's should be. I missed that. What comment was that?
Because she didn't say Happy Memorial Day. She said enjoy the long weekend.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
We had kind of a long conversation, and the summarization of that was, why are we focused on a tweet instead of the actions, right?
Especially at the border, and those types of actions. Not going, not closing the border better, checking people as they come in better, that kind of stuff. I don't know what your opinions are on that, but that's mine. So
gotcha.
She's not been down there once that I know of, so that matters more than what she said, I think.
Good question. Thanks for coming on here, man. We're gonna some other people hop in.
Yeah, I just want to say great job too. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye
bye. The solution for that is looking at all the other candidates that are there and contributing to their campaign, helping them get out there and campaign with them, like groundwork, footwork, grassroots campaigns. Get with these people and work together.
And you know it. So go ahead, Casey. My bad.
Pull it back up. This is where it's a trigger point for me. You are saying there is lesser than two evils. There is not. There are always more than two candidates.
Mm-hmm.
Always more. You are only paying attention to what you're told on TV, and that is why you are in that situation.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you get into judges and some city councils, sometimes you might not. But in the big positions that really make a huge difference in your states and stuff, you generally have multiple choices. And if you don't have a choice, that might be a position you run for next election. That's how you make differences.
Click the link, guys.
Elias Bennett Miller is wanting on, and I'm trying to walk and tell him to click on the link in the video description.
Here, I'm throwing it in all the chats real quick too.
Just watch a private jet picking up illegals to take them to other states. This affects everyone, not just the border states. Yeah, and what are your representatives saying about it? What are they saying about it? Are your representatives saying anything about it? Are they pushing for this in the Child Traffic Now Act? Like, what are they doing? These are things that we could pay attention to right now. Like we 22 is right around the corner, man. This is when I feel like we are so out of the game versus Democrats, because nobody's out campaigning. And I could be wrong because I'm not in the US, but you guys are. Where are all these politicians and candidates that are running and they want to have a say-so in this 22 election? They want to be considered.
I think in the conservative, and Casey can speak more to this than I can, but in the more conservative areas of the country, there seems to be, as long as you're an America First candidate, you're viable. In places like where I am in California, at this point, it's a total suppression campaign. There's no media coverage. All the media that's being done is organic through social media, where we already know they're having censorship issues, just like we're experiencing on a daily basis. So I think that's a huge part of the problem is they've already got their hands wrapped around the beast. And now they're just trying to strangle it out of life, particularly in the areas where it's easiest. Or at least that seems to be my perception, being in a very blue state, right? So,
is it Elias?
Yeah, what up?
Are you a kid?
Yeah, hold on. God, I am a kid, but I understand.
Oh man, have you been listening to me drop F-bombs? Don't tell your mom, all right? I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. I don't care really.
What's up, man? What's on your mind?
I just want to tell y'all that this vaccine be like the mark of the beast.
Oh man, say the V word. Don't say vaccine. Say the V word.
The virus be like the mark of the beast.
I like it. What else you got for us?
That this like, see, I told my dad this because he was explaining to us something. So like, I said, with this vaccine thing, how in some places they're like doing this little thing with like if you take the vaccine you get like $1 million or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I just made an example of that, and I said, hey, it's honestly like a mousetrap, luring the mouse in.
Facts, man. You're
So
100% on point.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. It's you're wise. It sounds like beyond your years a little bit. I'll caution you not to get too far into conspiracy stuff. The mark of the beast might be a stretch too far, but it is an intriguing question as to why incentivizing this specific issue has come around.
What do you think about the two parties? What do you think about the conversation we're having?
Those two parties? Oh, man. I don't know which one.
If you could have
Republican
an
and
ideal
Democrat.
government, what would it look like? Would you have Republicans
If I could
and
have an ideal
Democrats?
government, I think I would have Republicans, since I am on Trump's side, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean, it's controversial and stuff. I don't know.
Do you agree with everything that the Republican Party does?
I don't agree like with everything of what the Republican Party does, nor do I do.
What are some
100%
things?
don't. I don't agree with like some like it's kind of hard to explain really. Honestly,
Hey.
I kind of really keep up on that Republican stuff.
Understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But you feel that there's misplaced.
yeah, I feel there is some misplaces there in the Republican Party.
Good. That means that you're paying attention.
Yeah.
And thank you
you're
for
paying attention.
coming
That's
on
good.
here. I'm glad you
You're
watched
welcome.
the show. Just if I say that, look, let me know you're in the comments. Like, let me know you're watching the show before I get vulgar.
We'll clean up the language.
Alright.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'll let you know when I'm in the
listen.
comments.
You're light years
Yeah.
ahead of most people, and you're wise beyond your years. Okay, stay up.
Yeah, my dad always says that I'm wise beyond my years.
You are.
You are.
Stay focused. Keep watching and let me know when you're here all the time. I'll send you a link. You can come on and talk with us.
All right.
Okay. See, that's why I do what I do, man. There's a little kid watching the show. I didn't even know he was here, but I'm glad that he is here. Maybe this will force me to clean my mouth up a little bit.
Well, yep, we're gonna have to put a explicit stamp on this one. But moving forward today, we'll try and halt the language at common denominators.
Facts. Thank you for coming on, Elias. It was really good
Absolutely.
talking to you.
Hey, you know what? I just want to point out, it is so good to hear young people engage in this conversation. If nothing else has changed in the last 4 years, it is that this young generation is paying attention. Everybody's got their eyes on this, and that gives me tremendous hope for the future of our country. He doesn't have to be right about everything. He's still young, impressionable. Here's a lot of things that may be out of pocket, but let's remember. This is somebody who is young and critically thinking. We need to encourage.
Yes.
And as a girl dad, I'm just going to say, any young ladies out there, your voice is powerful too. So make it known.
Facts. Who's this? Falaki, the shipbuilder. Welcome to the. Okay, Floki. What's up, man?
Oh, same old. You were talking about the politicians and getting the ones into office that are going to actually do what they need for the people.
Mm-hmm.
We are never going to get that until we completely clean out the House and the Senate and impose new rules to where the mighty dollar doesn't control them. These politicians, by rights, are committing treason because they are actually doing what's in the best interest of their pocketbooks instead of the American people. And until we do something about the rules that govern them, then we're never going to get a change. You're going to have the same politicians running again and again and again. They're willing to take contributions for their reelection from major corporation, and I'm talking millions of dollars, that should never fall into their hands.
I agree with you to a certain extent. I'm not going to say never. We should never say never. It's not going to be an election cycle. It's not going to be 2. It's going to be a long time period of people actually holding politicians accountable and using their voice and their vote to make those things happen. But right now, a lot of people are afraid.
Well, after the election we had, I mean, a lot of people, myself included, feel that our votes do not count. No matter what we do and what kind of front we put up for the politicians we want, at least to me, it has become clear that unless we're only going to be allowed to elect the politicians that they give us a choice of electing. And what I mean by that is, whether it be Republican or Democrat, it's on, it's the ones that are playing ball, the ones that they know that they can control. So until we infringe rules on them to stop that, a good example is 2 days before the Speaker of the House, or before they announced that they were going to want to go green with Tesla and companies like this, the Speaker of the House, her husband, bought several thousand shares of Tesla stock.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I think that unfortunately it's not illegal. To speak specifically to like that stock purchase, but trying to find ways to not allow lobbyists, I think, is kind of what you're saying, to influence.
Yes.
And persuade politicians, right? The outside money, not just, because they do go there on a salary, basically, right?
Right.
And I'll address kind of one of the comments I saw too, because it was in succession with what you're saying. The reason that salaries are provided instead of the days that they work in Congress at this point is simply a procedural change that was made, I believe, sometime in the 70s. And that was actually, I think, influenced. I'll have to check on this, but it was influenced mainly because flight became a relatively easy, accessible, and cheap way to get to and from places. But to kind of speak to you, Floki, specifically, your kind of what you're talking on. Yeah, I think everything we can do to take, side money out of this, it's the side hustle, I guess, if you will, for politicians, would be a tremendous step in the right direction. So sanctions, specific laws that prevent them from using intelligence committees, for example, to make stock purchases, those kinds of things. I think we could do a lot better there. And yeah, we should look and ask those questions to your politicians that you're looking to elect. Will you change these things?
I mean, any business that you work for, I don't know of any that I can actually decide I need a raise and vote myself a raise. No company could do that because they would ultimately implode on themselves because everybody would want more money, which would mean, a raise in the cost of the product. And pretty soon it's going to be outpriced where people can't afford it. So why should these politicians be allowed to vote themselves a raise? I think that when it comes to that, it should be up to the people.
What's that, dude? Wait a minute. Is that the Nazi?
I believe it is. Yeah.
So let me address that, Buggy, real quick, and then we'll probably need to move on to others. But when you say we allow them to vote themselves for a raise, vote and give themselves a raise, that is where it is our responsibility to elect people to make those right decisions in those times of need of evaluating our country and the economy on if we can afford it and if they deserve it. I do want to see that changed. I think that should be on a ballot. I don't think that should be in Congress to make that decision. I think American people should. But to kind of go against when you say a company will implode if they do that, there are actually hundreds of companies that do operate that way. They do actually vote, and it is all by electoral, by the people of the company. They all go and vote on if they all will get a raise or not. And those companies still exist today. They survived the pandemic. And so those do exist as long as the proper pieces are put in place and it's followed. Right now, our system's being abused, and that's why it's not working.
And to that point, I'm a shareholder in a company that I own enough shares in that I actually have voting rights. And so there's in the private sector, there's lots of different ways that this example plays out. I don't know that I disagree. Thank you for coming on,
Floki. It was awesome to hear your perspective.
Yeah, man.
I hope other people have the courage to come on here and talk like you did.
Thank you, Sony. Before I get off here, I wanted to ask, how's Cash doing?
Cash is good. He's all right. Been talking to him. Just keep him in your prayers.
Oh, yeah. I do. I'm from the Angry Viking Coalition.
Okay.
So, which they're not around anymore, but I've watched Cash quite a bit, and I commend you all for carrying on his work while he's gone.
We appreciate that.
That's some good friends.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Elias is leaving the building. We'll see you later, Elias. You have a
Thanks,
good
man.
evening. Yeah, it's nighttime for you. Have a good time.
Get that sleep.
Who are you, sir?
Lui cracher dans la gueule, cette petite pute. Non, qu'est-ce que je raconte? Je viens de lui cracher dans la chatte, cette pute.
Okay, you're gonna be weird. Bye-bye. Ban, you can't come back. I'm telling you right now, you put porn on this screen, you're not gonna like what I turn into. What did I tell you? People like this are weird. You have nothing better to do but to come on here and do this shit. Fuck out of here, man.
Just don't have a life.
Yeah, I mean, thank God Elias is gone.
Tiffany's riding your pipe, man. She's mad at me, so she keeps acknowledging Casey. Oh man.
The thing that's frustrating is people like those two that just showed up for no reason, just to cause problems and get some random attention, have the same voting power as all of us.
Yep.
It's really frustrating.
Anybody else want to come on here and express their opinions and talk? Oh, he's right there. Block.
Man, that was
I can't believe you gave him a chance.
I'm like, I don't know if he was accidentally like watching porn and he put it up because he snatched it down real quick. I'm looking at the cameras and I'm like, okay. I pulled him up. I'm like, I got a feeling he's gonna do it, and he did it for a brief second, but he got cut off real quick. Bye.
Yeah, man.
God, man, don't get on here being weird, because I'm gonna block you.
You know what? It's okay for everybody to call these people what they are. These are sick, crazy people that do this kind of stuff. Like legitimately off their rockers, don't have society skills, can't understand what's wrong with what they're doing, and it ruins it for a lot of people. So I just gotta say that.
It does. I was
Welcome,
talking about that yesterday.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're good. I can't complain.
I finally got in. It took me
Awesome.
like the whole time, but I'm here. So what are we
Well,
talking
we're glad
about?
you're here. We're talking
than
about
porn and
the
children.
two-party system being a somewhat of a detriment for American citizens, because you saying a R or a D behind someone's name automatically makes them good. Or,
Yeah,
oh,
which
they
isn't
supported
true.
Trump, so I'm going to vote for them. But we're not looking at their track record. And I had put up a
Exactly.
post where I was criticizing some of these career politicians that a lot of people favor, in particular Rand Paul. He's a flip-flopper,
yeah.
and I don't put any support behind him because he's not solid or concrete on anything. And
See,
folks weren't really too happy about
I
that.
have a problem with him only a little bit. I like how he did with the big tech. I like what he did with Fauci. I don't like that he didn't stand up for the election, but I also like how he kept his state when it came to COVID. So there are a few things that I do like about him, but I don't know if just holding that one thing against him is that bad. I mean, I feel like every single one of our Republican politicians should have stand with the election or stand against it or fought more for it. But I don't think I feel like that's his only real big downfall, at least currently, if that makes sense. I like a lot of other stuff.
If I can kind of surmise what you said, that one situation to not vote to certify, essentially you're saying that is not enough reasons to justify kind of him being classified as a rhino or
I think so,
right.
in
It's
a
kind
way,
of the point,
yes.
right? That the other things kind of outweigh, right?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah.
At least
So
in my opinion.
I would just, I and I'll have to do some specific history on Rand Paul, but this is not the first time where he said, hey, I'm going to do something and then has not. And his dad had this same problem in office often
That's
he
true.
got roped in a lot into situations where he was vehemently against things. But it came down to the voting bloc who he had to answer to. And many of them would not accept anything but towing the line. And I think that if we were to look back, and I'm going to shoot from the hip here, but I think what I'm saying is correct. If anybody can fact check me or tell me I'm wrong, please do. But this is not the first time Rand Paul has said, I'm going to do this, and has not lived to the expectation. So I hear what you're saying for sure. In recent history, did that one action outweigh his current stances on things? That's a very interesting opinion. I disagree. I think that, again, it's about the first actions, right? And then second actions being of lesser consequence. And so it doesn't hurt him to come back after he said, I'm going to certify, and then to say, well, I disagreed with the process we were given in order to determine certification. That's a much easier argument to explain to a voter bloc than it is to say, I voted against this thing and I stick to my guns on it, and have a whole bunch of people upset with you for not falling into that middle ground. I'll just put that as a perspective on it.
No, that's definitely good. I've been watching you guys the whole time, and I'm like, I like a lot of stuff that he's done, but I can totally understand why people would want to call him a rhino. So, like, I get it. That's why I was like, I want to put at least some of the good stuff that he has done, because he has done some great things. But I do agree that he is a career politician, and that I don't like about him.
Exactly. Yeah.
And you know what? I understand why everybody's like, but he's done more good than bad. It's like, how it's an excuse at this point.
Yeah.
You've done more good than bad, but you've been in there for how long and you're making bank while the rest of us are always struggling.
Yeah.
No, bro. It's like this. Shit or get off the pot. Seriously.
You know, I do think you
or
represent
get out of the way.
Yeah, you what you're saying, you represent a tremendous amount of the population who is looking at it through the last 6 or 8 months, right?
Yeah.
And that's where I just will encourage the expansion of thought and say, let's look at the last 4 to 8 years.
Yeah.
And see how consistent that's been, right?
Used to live in Kentucky for a little bit, and I liked it there for the most part, but I didn't really see any policies that really affected me while I was there, which I thought was good. And I've also lived in New York. I've lived in Massachusetts. I've lived in Florida. I would love to go back to Florida because their policies were the great out of all of them. Even almost 15 years ago, they're still better than everybody else.
Even with them dinosaurs running around down there?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's young people, too. It's just only the old people are talked about. They go there to die. I don't blame them.
There you go. Hey, look, VC, you summed it up for me. He could be an honest, awesome dude, but he's a P word. And we don't need any more P words here.
I agree.
Sorry. Thank you for coming on. We're going to let some more people hop on and give their opinions. But thank you for coming on. I hope you come on again.
All right. Bye.
Oh, we got Kathy up here next. What's on your mind?
Hey, Kathy.
I like Kathy. She comes on here often.
Guys.
What's happening?
Nothing. Okay, you know we're talking about the borders, right?
The borders, sort of.
Well,
Yeah, we kind of got segued there for a second.
We're actually talking about the two-party system and how people need to understand that just because there's an R or a D next to somebody's name doesn't mean that they're the right candidate for the job. Career politicians are doing absolutely nothing for America.
Right.
Nothing.
My husband looked up to see who was in the runnings for everything. Funny is, you look at it, it says Tupac Shakur is in for the running for Democrats. No lie, look it up. But anyway, okay, so I watch a YouTuber on here that explains flights and stuff, right? I won't name who he is because, y'all might know him. Anyway, he's tracking planes that's going down to the tip of the Mexican Honduras border, picking up people and flying them straight past the border patrol so they could let the immigrations deal with it instead of letting the border patrol do it.
Wow, I didn't know that. Let's say allegedly. Okay. Anything's gonna get you snatched off.
I'm sorry, allegedly.
It's okay.
Yeah. But true. Another thing is you've got to know fully who you're going to vote for. You got to research them. And if you don't research them, just like with Trump, everybody's going to think bad about him. It doesn't matter whose your party is. It matters on who is going to be best for this country.
Facts.
I mean, I don't fully agree with the Democrat Party. I do, however, agree with Mnuchin and some of the things he believes in on not packing the court and not and getting rid of the.
I can't hear anybody. Can you hear me?
Uh-oh.
Anyone?
Do you agree with me or no?
Where's the
I don't know enough about
audio
Mnuchin
settings?
to even comment on him, honestly.
Well, he's against packing the court and getting rid of the filibuster.
He wants to get rid of the filibuster? or he's against it?
He's against it.
Ah, okay.
He's against
I
it.
got you.
So he's going against his own party, along with that female Democrat too. They're both against it.
Are you talking about Tulsi Gabbard?
I can't remember her name. I really can't. I mean, I know she's a Democrat and she falls in line with Meechin. But if a Democrat could, I mean,
with
we could
Manchin?
all come into a line if we're on a moderate, but when they're too far left or too far right, we can't do it. That's not an option.
So, we use the words left and right a lot. I think that's actually, these are misnomers. What we have is progressives and that's really on both sides. So that can be, I guess you could call it a regressive if you're hardcore on the other side of things, maybe in some ways. But to say that they're far left, I think is an interesting. I think they're progressive. There becomes a point where they're no longer affiliate with democratic principles on a fundamental level, and they fall through over the line into progressivism, which is where that constant goalpost changing is. But I appreciate what you said about kind of the situation there. And it is important to recognize anybody who's looking to get rid of the filibuster, it's a problem.
Facts. That's important. We need that.
It's
a huge thing. The fact that Dems want to take it away is telling. But thank you for coming on here, Kathy, and giving your opinions on these things.
100%.
Thank you guys. Love y'all show.
Yeah.
Love y'all. I mean, y'all tell it as it is. I'm straight up that way too. Everybody calls me a name, but I'm straight up that way too. All right, guys. Y'all have a good night.
You too, Kathy.
Oh, you're here. Can you hear us? No.
Can you hear us?
I don't know what's going on.
He changed his audio. He didn't have headphones earlier.
Yeah, I was just about to do that.
It looks like
I'll make you a break.
Yeah.
What is that? What are you talking about, lady?
I'll make you a break. Much love. All right. Tara,
I was just talking about Joe Manchin. Okay, I'm like
can I show something funny? Because this is my
Sure.
brother sent me. Hold on, I have to look for it just in a little bit. Hold on.
Sure. Call me and I'll tell you. Ooh, you're a troll. Absolutely not. I would rather pass on that experience. I would rather pass, buddy. There will be no in between, no gray area. It's just going to be white or black. Either you're in or you're out.
All right, Tara Stockton, this is for you. This is a Stockton hotel.
Is it in a tree?
Yep. My brother sent that to me, and he says, I said, they built a damn treehouse. He says, crafty little buggers. It's amazing what can be done with unlimited free time and a little crystal meth.
I'm saying, like, at least they get creative and they built a whole home up there for themselves. Wow.
Hey.
Crazy. If they can do that, then they can go get a job. Just saying.
Can you imagine how organized like every shelf on every store would be if we would just give these people the right job?
It would be stocked perfectly every time.
I wanted Tiffany to come on here. I don't know if she's coming back or not.
Tara says her great uncle signed the Declaration of Independence. That is very cool.
Lord, that's awesome. Hey, if you come in via your computer, it might work better.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, where are all these trolls coming from?
Wow. Yeah, I saw that just come through. It was like, really? Okay.
Yo, y'all are stop, bro.
What page are they on? Oh, I know why.
I don't know.
I can tell you.
Tiffany's having issues.
What's Cash's page?
Oh man. Can you hear us now?
Hello?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Hey, we can hear you too, Bucky.
Thanks. I'm sorry about that. I just restarted. I figured.
Tiffany,
my
just
phone
restart and you can hop back in.
Yeah, technical difficulties apply.
Go ahead, Bucky. What do you think?
I have to apologize first. I was giving good old Suni here a hard time in Messenger earlier. Like I'm of the sound mind that like I've been doing this for quite a few years. Well, are we talking about the two-party system still?
Yeah.
I've bickered with so many Democrats and Republicans for year after year, and I've done a really good job in some instances of pushing people away by I guess violating what they feel are like astute principles in their life, if you understand what I'm saying. And I myself have had to learn so much patience dealing with all sides because I'm ex-military, but I don't play the partisan game. I never have. Okay, I'll be honest. I come from the south side of Chicago, and I used to vote like more on the Democratic side of things. So I don't trust the Democrat Party as it stands. I have been never trusting the Republican Party my entire life. But moving out of the Chicagoland area, I got a bigger view. I've been a little around the world to see enough that like I find most North Americans are extremely spoiled. And we've gotten lazy and we're just accepting an antiquated system for what needs to be true progress. But I see no true progress. I see nothing but regression in areas that everyone's claiming progress. And I'm just saying I've had to learn a lot of patience just trying to like realize the only way that people will listen to you and drop their principle, like they feel violated when you like I guess you would attack their conservative principles or their liberal principles. I get it. People are sensitive about that. And I don't mean to be sensitive. I probably in my older years do lean a bit more conservatively, but it has nothing to do with party. It just is like I'd rather have less government all up in my business. It's just like I don't trust the government, so the less of that, the better. I find it I'm sorry if I said you were picking on people in recent posts. I get it. You got to poke those bubbles to make people see new ways of thought. I've just tried to figure out a way to do it with patience and love because I've made some friends with people I would not even expect to have like wanted to talk to me longer than 2 minutes just by, I guess, showing them my heart and real facts of real matters. And like when I expose myself and my vulnerability, which puts me at a loss because they could use that against me easily, I just show them like simple things that involve me. And like I put my heart out there and patience because I feel like society is giving yourself for other people, but we've lost that society. Everyone's afraid of each other. Like I said, I grew up on the south side of Chicago, but I've tried talking to Suni about that, before. Like, we can't talk about what's really real. Black Lives Matter, all about Black lives. But what about those Black lives being ate up every weekend in Chicago? We don't talk about that. We sweep that under the rug. And to people like me growing up there, I know you do. And that's why I respect you and your voice. Because, like, you're not afraid to talk about that stuff that everyone, like, nobody wants to hear it from me. I'm a straight white male. So they're like, well, I'm sometimes kind of gay, but like, I hold nothing against anybody and their sexuality. It's like, I don't know. I learned at the age of 3. I guess I had good parents. They're like, yo, you might not agree with everybody, but a soul is a soul. And I was taught that, so yeah. We've all been turned against each other. And like, I guess I'm on your side is what I'm saying. I'm sorry I said that I felt like you were picking on conservatives. I'm looking to do it, but in a loving manner. And it's hard for me to find that balance myself. You know what I'm saying? But I do respect you. You got a voice and I love it.
Here's the thing. Thank you. And I appreciate that. Here's the thing. I'm dealing with over 100,000 people. There's only so much love that I can put into this. We're already in a feeling-based society, and I'm not going to contribute to that. When people get on here and I ask them their opinion, if I hear you say I feel, I'm going to call you out. What do you mean you feel? How about what you think? How about what we know? We'll focus on, well, you made me feel this, because then you give yourself a sense of entitlement where it's like, well, you made me feel this and you need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And it's like, actually, I don't. You need to think about why you're responding the way you are. That's why I put these controversial posts out, because I know I'm going to sit there and watch everybody freak out, go off the handles. What do you mean? I do it with my own people too, my own culture. I purposely put stuff out just so Black people can react to it. It's going to be the truth, but I'm going to word it in a way where it pisses you off. because we don't have people doing that. We don't. We got so many people that are like, okay, you're entitled to feel that. There's your truth, my truth, their truth, and it's like, nah, there's the truth.
I would like to apologize to you because I guess you're not really picking, like I said. You legitimately, this is how you have to pop the bubble of people's thought perception. And I apologize for saying I felt like you were picking, because I get what other way can you do it? And I'm sorry I said you were picking, because you're just literally trying to wake people up. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for that apology.
Yeah, and can I throw something on this? Is being uncomfortable is what moves people from the seat that they're in. And I think what you've touched on is critically important, which is you're saying that gaslighted me. Basically, it threw me into a tailspin of frustration, right? Like, how do I address this properly, right? And ultimately, you've come to the resolution of like, well, shoot, it made me get on this show tonight. I'm talking to you. We're having an apology, but we agree on a lot of things. And what you're saying is the truth, right? So, and it's not. There's never an ill intention behind this. In fact, the intention is to poke the bear so that it will move. I think that's one of the things that often is off-putting about kind of the cultural shifts we're trying to make. Is a lot of people will let you run to their corner and have your feelings and make you feel good about all of those feelings. And there's a time and a place for that, for sure. But it doesn't really belong in the political sphere, right? And that's where I think today you've said it, right? You've kind of surmised it as like my eyes were opened up to the fact that like it is important to burst the bubble, right? And so I'll just say complacency and feeling, like you're comfortable where you're at is the detriment of society in all things. And so, yeah, it was a controversial topic. It even when I saw Suni posted it, even before she threw me the link, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, like this is an actual hard question to answer, whether you're on either side or the other. Like it's not an easy question to answer. So I just want to commend you for coming on here, man. Like you said, every voice is important. I think you have identified the very fundamental thing. We have way more in common than we'll ever have to disagree about.
Thank you. My real name is Benjamin. What's your name? I can barely see the Eric, or what is it?
Yep.
Eric. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
nice to meet all of you guys. I just want to say, like, Suni is probably some of the most interesting stuff. Whether controversial or not, some of the most thoughtful and thought-provoking things. Like, I barely am on Facebook anymore because I can't stand a lot of it. But social media culture, I mock openly and all that. It's just, what she posts like hits me in the heart a lot. And I guess, like, I don't know. I was like feeling like we were getting off the rails, going like the reason I was like, hey, let's not pick so much. Yeah, I'm wrong. I admit when I'm wrong. That bear does need to be poked, because when you get complacency is the biggest killer of anything. Like, I talked to Suni, complacency. Like, I grew up in the south suburbs of Chicagoland. Like, complacency there has eaten up all those communities. Those communities are so far gone, we can't even talk about hope for those communities, let alone provide proper leadership or light at the end of the tunnel for these places. But they're so far gone, nobody even wants to start talking about that stuff. And it really, like, that's where I grew up at. And it's getting worse and worse there. I see all this stuff that we should be focusing on, but we're not. And I kind of felt like it was leading towards more in-party bickering, but she's actually just doing what she needs to do to keep people's minds open. And hey, don't get complacent in any form of thought, because that's where we lose, getting too comfortable. And I admit when I'm wrong. So I see her point of view now clearly, and I was not seeing her full, perspective on it. But she explains herself and carries herself like a great human being and can explain her thoughts and points. And bam, I'm like, okay, I see I was wrong about how I was perceiving this. She's not just picking to pick on conservatives. She's actually doing this to, like, complacency kills for real on all sides. And I love you and I respect you. And I'm not just blowing smoke up your butt. Like, thanks for being on Facebook, because most of that stuff is trash these days.
No, a lot of people get really caught up in my methods of doing stuff. They do. They're like, why are you, what's the point in poking the bear? I'm like, I got you in my inbox, don't I?
You're making people think.
You're making people think. Well, thanks for coming on, Bucky. It was cool talking to you.
Hey,
I don't know.
I just
where
wanted to
Tiffany
say,
went.
hey. Oh, well, y'all have a great evening. I'm about to get some dinner here, but I'm going to keep watching y'all. This is great. This is the type of discussion that needs to keep happening amongst Americans. I applaud this and thank all of you for doing this sort of thing. Like, we need more of this. So thank you very much.
Awesome, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
See you, man.
Where's Tiffany? Tiffany just left.
Tiffany, come back.
I'm about to inbox her like, where you at, bro?
Where you at, dog? Come back.
But sometimes I think a lot of folks are scared to come on here and have that conversation with me because they're going to be like, well, damn, oh, shoot, you were right. You weren't trying to do this. And people they don't like admitting when they're wrong about you. They don't. They really don't. Like, I don't know what her name is, but I would definitely put her on public blast. She kept putting diverse thought, huh? And everything I would post, diverse thought, huh? Diverse thought, huh? And I'm like, you're proving my theory right. Number one, because I'm saying something completely different than what you agree with, which is diverse thought. And I'm telling you to think about what I'm saying, and you just decide to shut it down and just attack me. Diverse thought. You don't have diverse thought because you can't even get your head out of Trump's ass for 2 seconds. Like, come on.
Right? Exactly.
It's getting real out here, man. I hope I don't get you thrown off. What are you talking about?
What?
What'd you do, Virginia?
Uh-oh, Virginia, explain yourself.
I love Kevin Samuels, man. He's the GOAT. He's the ultimate GOAT for staying super calm when somebody is just like going off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
You know what he says? Ma'am. Ma'am, bring it back in.
And he always has to have his glass of, I want to say it's whiskey or scotch.
It's Red Bull.
Is it Red Bull? That's
Yep.
it? There's no way I could control myself drinking an energy drink and having someone do that stuff to me. I would be like, I'm going to come through this microphone and I'm going to wring your neck.
Well, I don't know if Tiffany's coming back. She's not in the comment section, and I just inboxed her to no response. So maybe she'll come back when we do another show like this.
I hope so.
But the moral of the story is, guys, all conservatives and all Republicans don't have your best interest at heart.
Mm-mm.
That word conservative is becoming a title for a lot of people. And it's starting to show. So is the word Christian. I'm a Christian conservative. Prove it. Because when I look at your comments, I don't see nothing but a hateful, intolerant person. Look through my comment section. Okay? Go to the most controversial post I have and look at all the people ready to be at my neck for simply thinking different. And I do it on purpose, and you fall into my trap every time. What do you guys have closing out?
I'll just say I think the illusion of there's only two parties or the lesser of two evils has got to go. If you don't see light at the end of your tunnel, grab a flashlight and start creating your own. And I think it's important that we stop getting, I'll use that word complacent again. We're very complacent right now. And I think we're moving the needle every day and people are starting to get that. So I'll just reiterate the message of start local. It starts in your head and your heart, and then to your family, then to your neighbor, then to your city, then to your state, and then to the federal government. And it is a very methodical march to getting there. And we only have a certain amount of time to do it. And so let's do it now. So email your representatives, get on board with them. I know that, we're still looking to get this piece of legislation passed, the anti-trafficking legislation. Mm-hmm. So let's focus on and hone on that for now. And everybody can participate. get involved, get making a move. It's the weekend, so it would be great for all of these representatives to wake up on Monday morning back in their offices with inboxes full and flooded with Pass the End Child Trafficking Now Act. So that's something we can do, and we got a couple days to do it. So if you're a slacker and you like to wait till the last minute, it's all right. You can do it Sunday night, Monday morning before their office opens, but we can do it. Let's do it.
Facts.
Well said. My big thing is just make sure you know who you're supporting. Like, just don't just look at what they're doing right now. Know their history. And if you are just hearing about them now on TV, there's something about that. There's a history that they're either trying to make themselves up for because they made some bad decisions, or they're just trying to get into the limelight so they can be reelected in general. So just make sure you're paying attention to those things. Rand Paul, Ted Cruz are the most common, like the most recent people to pay attention to like that. I'm not saying they don't necessarily deserve to be reelected, other than unless there is a better opponent, which there should be. Like if there is nothing, which might happen, unlikely, but go with it. Like do your research and understand who's available. It's not a lesser of two evils situation most of the time.
Make them prove their worth.
Yes.
Thanks, man. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. I'm going to close the show out with the clip that we showed entering. The Simpsons are never wrong. Just saying, this is one of my favorite shows. I definitely sit down at the end of the day and put on an episode of Simpsons. I don't know if you guys do that at night. That's like my kryptonite. Sitting down watching The Simpsons and maybe having a shot or two. Who knows? But I hope you guys all have a great evening. It's like 9 o'clock. So you guys are just in time to go sit down and watch The Simpsons. No, I'm kidding. Enjoy this clip because it talks about everything we spoke about tonight. The two-party system, two-party thought process. We need to put a stop to it. And we all need to actively be thinking. That's why we have the hashtag Make America Think Again. Go get your PTP merch. If you haven't, we have a lot of new stuff on the website. Also check out Be the Change. They have a lot of cool items on their website. I'm still waiting for my shirt, Russo. Just saying.
Same Z's.
Yours
TikTok,
is
man.
Shush, Eric.
The politics of failure have
Can you guys hear it?
We need to make them work again. Tomorrow, when you are
Yeah, I
sealed
can
in
hear
the cubicle, vote for me, Senator Bob Dole.
I am looking forward to an orderly election tomorrow, which will eliminate the need for a violent bloodbath. America, take a good look at your beloved candidates. They're nothing but hideous space reptiles. It's true. We are aliens. But what are you going to do about it? It's a two-party system. You have to vote for one of us.
You're right. This is a two-party system.
Well, I believe I'll vote for a third party candidate.
Go ahead. Throw your vote away.
All hail President Kane!
I don't understand why we have to build a ray gun to aim at a planet I never even heard of.
Don't blame me. I voted for Kodos.
Go!